Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take your sources, articles, research, even our own notes, and really pull out the most important nuggets, the key insights. It's basically your shortcut to being properly informed.
Yeah, cutting through the noise.
Exactly. And today we're diving into something that honestly started to feel a bit unsettling as we dug into it. The UK's Online Safety Act, the OSA. Now, on the surface, this law, it sounds fantastic, doesn't it? I mean, it's designed to protect children online. Who could argue with that?
Right. The intention seems solid.
But the material you've provided for this deep dive, it strongly suggests it might just be creating a privacy nightmare for everyone. That's quite a claim.
And that really is the core question for us today, isn't it? How can a law that starts with such, undeniably good intentions lead to these really significant privacy worries? And what are the crucial details we absolutely need to understand to get the full picture? Because it is sometimes alarming when you look closely.
Okay, right. Let's unpack this then. When you hear about the Online Safety Act, the headlines, they usually focus on adult content, yeah.
That's the main talking point you see.
Sure. And while that's definitely part of it, I was actually quite surprised digging through these sources just how broad this law really is.
Oh.
Its scope. It's huge.
It really is.
It reaches way beyond just explicit material. It touches like everything from the gaming networks you use, streaming services, even your favorite online forums and communities. It's sort of woven into the fabric of everyday online life now.
And that broad scope, it really highlights how our whole understanding of safety has fundamentally shifted,
How so?
Well, think back, maybe when we were younger, bullying often ended when you got home. Your house was like a safe zone.
Right, a sanctuary.
Exactly. But now, in today's world, everyone's always connected. Devices, apps, messages. They follow kids right into their bedrooms. Those old boundaries are just blurred.
Yeah, totally.
And what's really striking is how safety can mean vastly different things depending on where you are in the world. I remember a colleague from Mexico, her community, they genuinely feared physical kidnapping far, far more than they worried about, say, bank details being stolen online.
Wow. That's a different perspective.
It really drives home how diverse the views are on what a real threat actually is.
That is a powerful point.
Right.
And thinking about those, earlier child online safety things, I remember parents being genuinely stunned, like shocked, to learn photos they shared on social media had GPS metadata.
Oh, yeah, the geotagging issue.
Exactly, pinpointing their location. And you know how teens often think they know it all?
Been there.
Well, that attitude, it often changed pretty fast after watching a live penetration test on one of their own accounts. Suddenly, it wasn't so theoretical.
Reality check.
Big time.
Yeah.
But what surprised me even more from the research were these cases where parents actually kind of undermined safety efforts themselves.
Oh.
Yeah, like one example cited a parent who apparently gave their 6-year-old a phone with explicit images on it.
Yeah.
As a joke.
A joke? Seriously?
Yeah.
That's, wow.
Yeah, certainly one way to introduce them to the digital world, but probably not the best way.
No kidding. And those sorts of anecdotes, they really highlight this global inconsistency in how we approach this. Singapore, for instance, the sources say they've been teaching online safety from the earliest years, very proactive.
Right.
The U.S. approach, often quite patchy, hit and miss, varies wildly by state. And while the U.K. and Europe, yeah, they had some strong initiatives, there were clearly significant gaps that remained.
Which brings us to, I think, a really central argument raised in the material. This idea of an education gap. Is the fundamental problem maybe not just sort of inadequate age verification tech, but actually a big gap in education?
For whom?
Well, for everyone, for the kids, for their parents, even for teachers.
Yeah.
Are we essentially handing over these incredible, powerful smartphones and social media accounts to children who just aren't developmentally ready?
Without the right guidance.
Exactly. Without properly educating them or their parents or their teachers. The sources definitely point to parents creating Facebook accounts for 8-year-olds out of this fear of missing out.
Right, the social pressure, FOMO.
Yeah, but these are the same parents who probably wouldn't let that same 8-year-old walk alone to the corner shop. There's a really curious disconnect there, isn't there?
It is strange. And if we look closer to home, right here in the UK, the inconsistency in domestic safety rules is, well, it's glaring, especially around teacher-student social media boundaries.
Oh, yeah. How so?
England, believe it or not, still lacks national standards on this.
Really? Still?
Yep. Which leads to what the sources call a postcode lottery.
Yeah.
Different schools, completely different policies. Yet teachers are regularly investigated for alleged social media misconduct.
Under rules that don't exist.
Under guidelines that effectively don't formally exist. Now, Wales, by stark contrast, they set up formal regulator guidance on teacher social media use way back in 2016. A big difference.
Okay, so moving on to the the core mechanism of the Online Safety Act itself. The material explains that from July 25th, 2025, Ofcom started enforcing the child safety parts of the law.
Right, the enforcement kicked in.
And they're focusing on what they call highly effective age assurance. Now, highly effective, according to Ofcom, means accurate, reliable, robust, and fair.
Okay, sounds good on paper.
It does. And the approved methods are quite specific. Things like credit card checks, face or ID scanning, digital identity tools. What's crucial here, though, is that simple self-declaration, just ticking a box saying I'm over 18, that won't suffice.
No more just ticking the box.
Nope, that's out.
And you can really see platforms scrambling to respond now. I mean, the examples are piling up. Xbox, for instance, they'll need a one-time UK age check early 2026.
Just to keep using social features.
Yeah, exactly. To keep full social functionality. Discord. They're now blurring mature content by default. You have to actively verify your age to opt out of the blur. Spotify is using face-scanning ID checks via a company called Yoti. And apparently, failing those checks can actually get your account disabled.
Wow, okay, high stakes.
Definitely. And we're seeing Reddit and Bluesky using services like Persona and Kids Web Services for their UK verification. Others too, Grindr, X, Twitter, Nexus Moz, even Wikipedia, they're all actively looking at or already implementing compliance measures.
So it's really widespread.
It shows the sheer scale of this mandate coming into force. It's touching almost everything.
Right. And here's where it gets really interesting and potentially quite problematic. The sources flag up this crucial privacy and data protection clash.
This is key.
The Online Safety Act itself, right? Despite all its goals, it does not create a lawful mechanism for moving UK identity data overseas.
And this is a critical point that really jumps out from the research we looked at under UK GDPR.
Okay, the data protection rules.
Exactly. If a provider, or importantly, their age assurance vendor, the company doing the checks for them, if they store or process sensitive data like your passport scan or biometric face data outside the UK.
Which they probably do, right? Many are U.S.
Often, yes. They must use a lawful transfer mechanism, and they have to conduct a documented transfer risk assessment, a TRA.
No TRA. Yeah.
Now, one possible mechanism is the UK extension to the U.S. Data Privacy Framework, the DPF. It allows data transfer to the U.S. But, and this is a big but, the specific U.S. company receiving the data must be DPF certified, and they have to have explicitly opted into the UK extension part of it.
Okay, so not automatic.
Not at all. And what's really concerning is that the sources state many of these age verification companies simply can't legally handle UK data the way they claim.
So they're saying they comply, but maybe they don't.
Or the legal basis is shaky at best. And some vendors, like the Israeli-based company AU10TIX, which is used by several platforms, they're either ineligible for things like the DPF, or they're just totally silent on how they're legally transferring UK data, which, raises serious questions.
So, okay, let's connect this back. What does this all actually mean for you, the listener?
Well,
it sounds like it means that if you're asked to upload your passport photo or give facial scan data or other really sensitive stuff for age verification, those companies doing the checking, they might actually be processing your data in ways that are breaking data protection law from day one here in the UK.
That's the potential implication, yes. It's not a minor technicality.
Not at all.
And adding to this worry is what one source called the dangerous lie of delete after verification.
Right, because platforms say we check it, then we delete it.
Exactly. But is that always happening? And even if it is, the identity data itself, passport images, driving license photos, those verification selfies, the liveness videos, that stuff is described as premium loot for criminals. Gold dust.
Why?
Because unlike a password you can change or a credit card you can cancel, you can't rotate a face or a passport number once it's leaked. It's permanent.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's chilling.
And the data retention issues are significant too. AU10TIX, for example, the sources say they retain biometric data for up to 3 years after you last interact with them.
3 years.
And Yoti partners can apparently keep records for up to 2 years. That's a long time for extremely sensitive data about you to be sitting on potentially vulnerable servers.
Which brings us, sort of inevitably, to the issue of security itself. I mean, how secure are these systems that are now collecting all this incredibly sensitive data, really?
Well, one really striking point from the material is that fundamentally, the human factor trumps security spending. You can spend millions on tech.
But people make mistakes.
Exactly. Most common breaches, they aren't these super complex, elaborate James Bond exploits.
Right.
Instead, they come from much more mundane but just as effective routes. Think supply chain compromises, attacking a vendor to get to the main company. Misconfigured cloud storage, leaving the door unlocked, basically. Look-alike phishing portals tricking users or staff. And, of course, insider abuse.
So the basics often get missed.
Pretty much. And the inevitability principle is very clear in the research here. It's not a question of if there will be breaches, it's when. Every system will eventually fail somewhere, somehow. Every human will eventually make a mistake. It's inevitable.
And we don't have to look far for proof, do we? There's some pretty startling recent examples cited.
Unfortunately, yes.
Like the TEA app disaster. That was just last July, right? July 2025.
That's the one, a women's-only safety app.
And it exposed 72,000 images, including 13,000 government ID images and those verification selfies, data that was supposedly deleted right after verification.
Supposedly.
And the security. Get this. The database required no authentication, no nothing. It was stored as a public bucket on Google's Firebase platform.
Meaning anyone could just browse it?
Anyone on the internet could access it. No password, nothing. Just wide open.
Unbelievable.
And it doesn't stop there. The material also mentions AU10TIX, one of the big ID verification vendors we talked about.
Yeah.
Leaving admin credentials exposed online for over a year. Admin access.
Wow. Okay, so the track record isn't exactly confidence-inspiring.
Not really, no.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, what this age assurance system does is it centralizes these incredibly high-value identity artifacts, passports, licenses, faces with just a handful of processing companies.
Right, concentrating the risk.
Precisely. It creates these highly concentrated honeypots, massive databases full of premium loot. They become irresistible targets for criminals, especially when, as we've seen, the security controls inevitably slip up.
So it's like putting all your most valuable eggs in a few baskets and then maybe not locking the baskets properly.
That's a good analogy. Or, as one source put it, storing your passport photo with dozens of different private companies is like leaving copies of your house keys in unlocked mailboxes all over town. Eventually, someone with bad intentions is going to find one, or many.
Okay, so given all these pretty serious risks, is there a better way? Is there a safer, more effective way to protect children online without, inadvertently creating these massive privacy risks and data honeypots for millions of adults?
Well, the sources certainly propose one alternative, a safer implementation based on something called tokenized proof.
Okay, tokenized proof. How would that work?
It's actually quite elegant. Step 1. You, the user, start the verification process on a platform, say a forum or a game.
Right.
Step 2, instead of sending you off to Yoti or AU10TIX or whoever, the platform directs you to a secure government portal, like gov.uk.
Okay, interesting. To the government itself.
Exactly. Step 3, you then prove your identity directly to the government, maybe using your national insurance number, driving license number, postcode details the state already securely holds about you.
Things they already know.
Things they already know and are set up to verify. Step 4. If your details match, the government system issues a special single-use verification token, like a digital voucher. And crucially, it has a short expiry time, say 24 hours.
Just a temporary pass.
Just temporary. And finally, step 5. You take that token back to the original platform. The platform then validates the token against a government API, a secure checking service. And here's the key part. The platform confirms your age verified without ever seeing or needing to store your actual ID document.
Ah, so the platform just gets a yes or no from the government based on the token.
Essentially, yes. They get confirmation the token is valid and linked to an age-verified individual, but they never handle the raw passport photo, the driving license, the face scan.
Wow. That sounds incredibly promising and, frankly, so much more secure.
The benefits seem really clear.
Yeah. No honeypots of sensitive data sitting with private companies.
None.
It's safer for businesses, too. They avoid the massive liability, the insurance costs, the security headache of holding all that toxic data.
Less risk for them, definitely.
It sounds like it would be cheaper and easier to scale up. It should be easier to audit. It offers universal coverage. Pretty much everyone in the UK gets a national insurance number by 16. And it has that built-in expiry for the tokens, adding another layer of safety. It's not even like totally new territory, is it? The DVLA share code thing for driving licenses.
Yeah.
That kind of proves this model can work.
It's a similar principle.
And gov.uk Verify, while it had its issues, it showed the government understands the concept of, federated identity without needing to pass around raw documents.
The precedent is there.
So, why isn't this the path being taken? It seems so obvious.
It is a compelling alternative. But, well, what's actually happening with the current act in practice, we're already seeing the predictable workarounds, just as critics warned.
Like what?
Well, tech-savvy kids, they're using VPNs, virtual private networks, to simply bypass the checks altogether, make it look like they're accessing from outside the UK.
Of course they are.
Fake driving license screenshots apparently circulating online faster than ever. And computer games are reportedly exploiting adult facial images, maybe a parent's photo, to fool the verification systems.
So the act is inadvertently just training an entire generation of digital Houdinis, teaching them how to get around security.
It certainly looks that way for some, yeah? The loopholes are being found.
And we have some pretty alarming statistics to back that up, don't we?
We do. Proton VPN, a major VPN provider, reported a staggering 1,400% increase in UK signups right after the act came into force.
1,400%.
Yeah. And another source mentioned that half of the top 10 free apps on Apple's App Store in the UK are now VPNs, with downloads for some up 1,800%.
1,800%. The market has definitely responded, just maybe not in the way the Act's authors intended.
Precisely. The demand for ways around the checks has exploded.
Which leads to something even more concerning.
And perhaps the most concerning development reported is that the government is apparently considering banning VPNs entirely.
Banning VPNs?
Yeah.
But aren't they essential security tools?
Absolutely. The Labour MP, Sarah Champion, has campaigned for restrictions, and the current technology secretary, Peter Kyle, says he's looking very closely at VPN usage in response to the OSA workarounds.
But banning them? That sounds like a cybersecurity catastrophe waiting to happen.
It really would be. VPNs are crucial. Businesses use them constantly to secure remote connections. Individuals use them to protect their data on insecure public Wi-Fi, like in cafes or airports.
Yeah.
Banning them would force the UK to join a list of countries like China, Iran, Turkmenistan, generally authoritarian regimes. And it would make everyone, businesses and individuals alike, far more vulnerable to cyber attacks and data theft. It's a truly chilling prospect.
It really is. What a paradox.
Yeah.
Instead of fostering, healthy, safe digital habits, the Act, in its current form anyway, seems to be inadvertently teaching a whole generation how to circumvent security measures, how to normalize deception as just a basic digital life skill.
And potentially eroding trust between children and parents in the process if kids feel they have to hide their online activity.
Yeah. Okay, so let's try and summarize this deep dive. It seems clear that while protecting children online is absolutely essential, nobody disputes that goal.
No, the goal is laudable.
The Online Safety Act's current implementation is forcing millions of UK adults to surrender their most sensitive personal data passports, faces, to private companies. Companies with, frankly, patchy security records, as we've seen.
Creating these vast honeypots.
Exactly. Creating these huge honeypots of identity documents that, as our analysis tonight clearly shows, based on past form and general principles, will inevitably be breached. It's a when, not if scenario.
And the harsh reality, really, of what you can do as a listener right now, it boils down to this. Contact your MP immediately. That's your only real leverage at this point.
Make your voice heard.
Yes. There's apparently a template letter available for download linked in the sources to help you articulate these concerns clearly to them. And while there is a parliamentary petition to repeal this part of the act, and it has over 500,000 signatures.
500,000, that's huge.
Yeah, it is huge. But the government has, so far, refused to repeal it. So direct MP contact is probably the most effective pressure point now.
And it feels crucial that you, the listener, spread awareness about this before people just sort of sleepwalk into this surveillance.
Absolutely.
Because most people probably won't realize what's happening or what data they're giving away until they're suddenly forced to upload their passport just to play a game they like or join an online community they've been part of for years.
And the transparency demands, asking companies exactly how they handle the data. The sources suggest they'll largely be ignored or met with vague assurances.
And choosing carefully which platform to use based on their verification partner. that isn't really a choice, is it? Each platform dictates its own vendor and demands you comply if you want access.
You don't get much choice in the matter, no. But
Yeah.
look, there is maybe a note of hope here. We should remember that public pressure has successfully rolled back digital surveillance measures before in the UK.
Like the ID cards.
Exactly. The abandonment of the national ID card scheme back in 2010 is a prime example. Public opposition sustained pressure. It worked. That 500,000 petition signatures. It shows the appetite for change on this exists. It's a powerful tool if people use it.
Absolutely. Well, that brings us towards the end of this deep dive. A lot to think about. So a final thought for you, the listener, to consider and maybe explore on your own. What's your take on all this? How else might we effectively protect both privacy and children online? What changes would you want to see if you were the one writing the rules?